Welcome to the Family Photography Marketing Podcast, where we dive into the world of marketing and help you take your business to the next level. I'm your host, Fiona, a marketing expert with 10 years of experience in the family photography industry, and in each episode of this podcast, I'll be sharing my insights and strategies for successful marketing to help you navigate the ever-changing landscape of digital and traditional marketing techniques. So whether you're just starting out or looking to fine-tune your marketing approach, this podcast has something for you. So join me and let's get started. Hello everyone, we are back with our final two marketing reviews for this series that we've been doing. This one is Stacy with Four Souls Photography out of Leesburg and Stephen City, Virginia. I could be saying that wrong. So the assignment that every photographer who participated in this was given was describe your ideal session. So here Stacy says that her ideal session is people who love hard, they're happy, they're fully feeling it, they don't require posing or looking into the camera, and then legacy is the number one theme that she has here. So that's kind of how she describes her ideal session. We're starting here on the Instagram, then we're going to the website, then we're going to SEO, then we're going to Pinterest. So name, we want to add the location in the name. The data from the last 7 of these that we've done is clear that once we get to the Google portion, so many Instagram accounts pull up that alone is reason enough to add your location information into your name. So I would just add that. In the profile info on Instagram, it says, VA based, I'm your personal hype girl with a camera, families, we create memories to last forever. So the copy is good. It's clarifying, but I feel like we could take more of this ideal session copy and plug it into this profile to make it a little bit more personal. And as always, I'm going to suggest having a seasonal call to action. What are you booking right now? What are you working on? So the 3-pole scroll, which is where I just scroll my finger down Instagram 3 times, right off the bat, I'm drawn to the word legacy, where she has made that a reel cover, and then there's reels that kind of explain different elements of her brand. So she's sticking to her ideal copy there, and I like to see that consistency. As I scroll down, I'm seeing maternity, newborn, events, headshots, seniors, and branding. So that seems on brand for kind of what her copy was talking about, but just like in the past, I think it was last episodes, where there's photographers who are talking to multiple different genres or niches, you have to be very careful that you don't get into overwhelm when you are creating your own marketing, because you have so many different people you're talking to. So in a way, it's kind of nice because you have literally endless things you could talk about, because just a maternity client is going to have a subset of trust building topics that you could create content around. Then you go to seniors, then you go to branding, then you go to events. Like there's so much content that could be created, but there's always a risk for overwhelm on the creation side. And then there's also always a risk for overwhelm on the consumer side. So when you're talking to lots of different people, you just have to always have overwhelm on the forefront of whatever you're doing. All right, so she has this cool thing that's popped up a few times on the 3-pole scroll, which is called Mention Monday, where she features local businesses. So if she's trying to do branding, I think that's like a really, really smart theme to do, because everyone wants to be the center of the conversation. And if you're providing a service and you're centering your customers who also need customers, I just think that's a really smart way to do it. So if I'm a business and I discover a page, a website, an Instagram that has visuals committed to what I need, then my trust is going to be high, right? So what we want to be careful that we don't do here is, because Stacy's talking to so many different genres of individuals who are looking for different things, that we're not breaking trust because that person is looking for a specialist. So that's where we could make sure that the Instagram has every X number of posts, this type of photography mentioned. And there's clear paths leading from the Instagram to other channels that make it very, very obvious the next step for each of those individual people to take. And we'll talk more about that as we get through to the website part. So first, there are pinned posts here. The first one is Stacy. It's a picture of her face. The second one is a behind the scenes of her studio. And the third is a recent Mention Monday for small businesses. So I would love to see more of this type of content repurposed on the website. And I think we can use these pinned posts to talk to more people. So with the first one, like, it has your face, which we love to see right at the top of the page. But then what if it was a carousel with the type of sessions that you offer and a little bit of information about both? That might be even more clarifying. We're always trying to become more clear, and we're always trying to seek. A good way to think about this is like you're trying to seek the clearest attention whenever you're posting. So like this is the person when they experience what you've posted, it's clear the offer that you have to give to them, right? So we can utilize pinned posts in that way to break up the attention into buckets of speciality. So that would be my advice on the pinned post, is get a little bit more specialized and add a little bit more data in there. All right, so we're on to the link. So the link goes to a link page, and on here we have a link to the senior Instagram, blog post, her website, book now, newsletter, and then the text on the last one on mobile is unreadable. So I can't quite tell what it says. It's kind of stacked, and sometimes we don't really have control over those things, but I can't really read what it says. So you might just want to take a peek at that. Okay, so oh yeah, I was going to say that, like, I say that happens to us. It literally does. So someone had said on a Facebook group, who uses WordPress and a theme, could you show your website? And I use WordPress and a theme, so I showed mine, and someone was like, your website's really pretty, but under your branding information, it has the copy that was meant for my under one client. So it was like, branding first session includes your baby who's, just super confusing. So no matter how much you think you're paying attention to detail, it's always helpful to have a second set of eyes. All right, so where we're going here, we have this link right to the senior Instagram. And on that Instagram, we're not going to talk too much about that, but it's an example of clarity, because on that Instagram, even though there's only a handful of posts, it's very clear that it's for seniors and all the information here is for seniors. Therefore, it is a specialty page, a specialty bucket of visuals and information for seniors. So the more we can get our business to feel like that, the better and the higher the trust is that we can build. The next link is a helpful blog post, but I would almost rather this go to a seasonal homepage, because if I'm a business, let's say, and I'm looking for branding photography, and I came from the Instagram and now I go to a helpful blog post, but this helpful blog post happens to be under the category of bellies and babies. So if I'm a brand owner, I don't want to talk about bellies and babies. I just want to talk about my brand and how Stacey's going to help me. So those are the types of paths that we have to make sure we're capturing the attention, that is so hard in itself. We're working hard to capture attention. So when we do capture it, we want to make sure that I always like to go back to my road theory, where like the attention is a little cart, the person gets in, they're driving forward. We just want to make sure that we don't derail them at any moment by showing them information that is not pertinent to their journey. So if I'm an expectant mom and I found that post, it's super helpful. I'm then pouring more into the brand. I'm like, okay, she sees me. Here's an expectant mom. I love what she's wearing. I love the location. I am starting to see myself in this brand. So that person is feeling good. Trust is going up. The branding professional might be like, oh, maybe this person only does really maternity work. So those are the types of things that you do want to be careful about. Next is the link to the website, where we see Stacey looking extremely cute and fun at the top, but then guess what happens? The email sign up pops up. So again, I'm going to go back to the fact that we desperately need the data here. We can't just have an email pop up that shoots up and blocks Stacey's cute face from my eyes. I want to look at her. I can't look at her because she's wanting me to sign up for her website or her email list, but I don't have enough trust yet to do that. So if you find that people are just signing up for your email list all the time, perfect. If you don't, get rid of it for a season and then compare the data. I would just really want to be clear that if it is interrupting my scroll, it could be hurting you more than helping you. So her tagline here is great. It says photographing families and female creatives. Super clear. I would actually love to see that tagline on the Instagram. But the first button I push is a learn more button, and it's a 404 not found. Again, happens to us all. Literally does. You just have to check your button links. Everyone take 30 minutes out of their day, go to their website and check every single button on there to make sure that goes to actual page. Then it says this thing that I also love. It says what it's like to be photographed by Stacy. Like, that is so clear and to the point. That is exactly what a potential client is wondering. As we scroll down, there's more information about families. Now, if I'm a brand, I'm a little lost here. I need a more clear path, right? I'm super happy to learn about Stacy, but I don't want to know anything about families, and I want her to get me on my road. I want to say, where's some helpful blog posts for me? Where's my guidance, right? So we have to sort of take something that's a lot of information and make it into easy, digestible buckets of trust building data. That is what we want. Click here, learn more. Here's how to help your brand. Here's how your brand can be seen. Here's reviews from other brands I've worked on. Someone who's experiencing that copy, their trust is only going higher, but we don't want to lose them in the beginning because we can't capture the attention correctly, right? The menu is laid out nicely. The About Me is clear. It has lots of photos. It has reviews, which is yay. We love to see reviews. I would actually add on this page a way to get on the calendar, because the way to actually get on the calendar is kind of hidden throughout the site. So services is broken out. The services page is broken out into what she offers. It is informative, but again, I get a little bit lost depending on who I am in this process. So I would break it out at the top. So be like, families click here, maternity here, brands click here, and then send those people to individual info pages that have galleries, info, pricing, and optimally book online links, right? So then those people are like, I'm in my storefront. I'm in my storefront of what I want to buy. I'm here to buy branding. I don't need to know about your belly. I don't need to know about your family. I don't want to know about your senior. I don't want to know about your event. I want to know how Stacy is going to help my business grow through her photography. So that's kind of what we're trying to do here. So overall, Stacy's good with copy. Like, her copy is good. It just gets a little lost because I'm searching through all of it, trying to find what I need. So she has really good copy skills. Hone them down, get them clear, and put all of this great copy and information into buckets that are just easier to find. We want to think about the consumer as the absolute laziest sloth who is just like, wants to sit in their recliner and have all the information easily fed to them. So we have to provide it in that way. Unfortunately, I wish they were a little more proactive. I wish they had a longer attention span, but they just don't, and we just have to do what we can do. We want a clear map from discovery to booking for each of these different sections. We want a helpful road with tips, tricks, and trust building pit stops built along the way. That's what we're going for. All right, so SEO, no results for Leesburg family branding or senior photography, but other photographers' Instagram pages pulled up for all of those. So again, we're going to fix the always adding the information about where you live in your name on IG. For Stephen City, you pull right up for branding, which is awesome. You're a bit down on the page for family and senior, but for that city, you're doing really, really well with SEO. For Pinterest, you're not particularly showing up across, but like working on your SEO across the board will help you show up there. And if you take the information that the copy that you've already spent time on working and you make those into easily digestible blog posts that are properly keyworded and then you pin them, all of those things will help on the SEO side as well as the Pinterest side. There is room here on Pinterest for new photographers, so don't let Pinterest go. Again, always remember, Pinterest is the slow game. So we gotta like put it up there and then give it time to work. Okay, so overall, we have a photographer who just has beautiful work, has great copy. She's put a lot of time and work into her branding elements. It's just about bringing them together to make a very clear path for each individual type of person who's arriving there. And you can tell that she's already doing that, separating out the senior Instagram. Like, I started doing seniors in my studio and I was telling my husband, I'm like, do I need yet another Instagram for them? And I'm like, no, not right now. Maybe if I really decide to push into that, I would actually almost go a TikTok, a senior TikTok that's solely about seniors in the studio. Again, these are overwhelming decisions because that's where I get jealous of people who are like, I photograph this one thing and that's it. I'm like, dang, that sounds amazing. So if you are in that boat, then you do have a little bit of advantage in terms of attention. However, you can get stuck worrying about not being able to consume or create enough content, whereas someone who's talking to a lot of people doesn't have a content problem, but they may have an overwhelm problem on the consumer side. So it's a trade-off either way. All right, next, hold on, I'm going to rustle my paper. Okay, next we are moving on to Lauren Fox of Denver, Colorado. So for her ideal session, I actually didn't get it from her in time to do this, but I'm going to guess that it's sort of similar to my ideal session because she has sort of similar work to mine. It's like adventurous. Her clients are styled differently than mine. They're styled like, I'd say, a little bit more fancy. But again, she has a lot of lifestyle images. There's not a lot of people looking at the camera. So that would be my guess. Her title on Instagram has her name. I would optimize again for location here. So she has Colorado family photographer in the profile. I would just add it to the name. And then it says earthy mama living intentionally. So that right off the bat, the information from that makes me think that maybe this is an account about motherhood or like living intentionally. Like she's going to tell us how to live intentionally. So we can, if she were to write out her ideal session copy, which I know would be what I already talked about, we can add in some of those things. Like I'm the photographer for the mother who, or something like that, that's like very clear about what type of offering she has. So in the 3-pull scroll, we can see that Lauren has 0 issues with consistency. It's beautiful outdoor work and then bright white studio work. There's 2 things going on, but they're both very consistent and very clear. So pin posts are not utilized here, but again, I think everyone should have them, especially in About Me. She does use highlights really well. So she's made highlights at the top. They're very informative. She's used these highlight covers, which are very cute. Visually, they're very nice. It builds trust. So what the highlights provide that a pin post could provide as well is a trust building bucket of information. Anytime we have that, a potential client is going to want to consume that because they're trying to build trust as fast as possible. If I find Lauren's brand and I'm someone who wants to go out in the Colorado wilderness with my family and get beautiful lifestyle portraits at sunset, she's already checking all the boxes. How can we help that person build trust faster? So those buckets of information could be, here's how I style, and she has it already separated out really well. So Lauren, if you're looking to do pin post, I would just take some of the information that you've used in those highlights to add the pins there as well. So the link goes to the homepage of the website. We have very on brand images there of a lifestyle mountain session. Scrolling down, we learn more about Lauren. We can contact her or view a gallery. We keep going, more images, and then there's an experience page. More scrolling, there's a contact me page, but then we run into the problem that we talked about in earlier marketing reviews where there's nowhere to go at the bottom. So we want to always be sending people somewhere at the bottom of pages because there's such a risk that with our slothy little selves, instead of scrolling back up to the top, we'll click right out of the page. We don't want to take that risk. It helps us to not have a high bounce rate for our SEO. So just always be sending someone somewhere at the bottom of the page, whether you add the menu to just show up there at the bottom again, or it's some sort of way for them to get to the next spot. Yes, there's the contact form at the bottom, but I would be very curious how many people actually use that contact form as opposed to a contact form on an interior page of the website. So that's more data that you can gather if you have Google Analytics or you have a way to see where people are actually spending time on your site. So from here, we're going to go where everyone else is going to go, which is About Me. We go to About Me because we're trying to build trust, right? So we see the images. They're great. They're exactly what we want, but who is the person behind the brand? We get there. We see a very pretty picture of Lauren. Again, I would go more into specifics in the copy here about how she helps people achieve these adventure shoots. Doing them myself, I know there's like a ton of work that goes into them, which means that there's a ton of education that could be put there. More pictures of her that I love to see. It helps me build trust, helps me see her, helps me see that she's a mom, that she's a wife, that she likes to adventure around herself. but no clear call to action, right? So it'd be like, this season I'm booking wildflower sessions in these mountains. Want to learn more? Blah, blah, blah. It's just a clear, like, come down the path with me. Keep coming forward towards the final prize, which is that you get to be on my calendar. The details page, the investment is clearly laid out with lots of information and images, which is what we love. We want images on the investment page because on this page, someone is a mere tiptoe away from booking you. So we want to draw them in as much as possible. There's a what to expect, which is really nice and is going to answer pretty much every question, right? So like if someone comes and they're like, yeah, looks great, but it's probably going to be answered there. Trust is already high through the consistency of the images, so you know what I'm going to say. I'm going to say that she should do online booking. Now, she does do online booking, but the button is really, really small and in the FAQ page and doesn't really appear too many other places on the site. So I would make the booking calendar on menu item. That's what I've done, and it's been so helpful for people because they can find it so easily. It's listed, there's individual booking calendars all throughout my website, but then there's one main menu item that just says book online, and if you click that button, it goes to my online scheduler. So I would just put it in a more prominent place. You want a high level of clarity, right? When I see a contact me button that leads to a form, when I could book online, like if you want to give people the option to do both, that's fine, but the online booking isn't as clear as it could be. Okay, on the blog, we have what looks like client sneak peeks. So I would love instead to see these turned into educational posts where you can just pin and share the shite out of those on Pinterest, on Instagram, on your Facebook page. And there's a reason we'll talk about your Facebook page. So over to SEO on Google, I don't see your website for the first couple scrolls, but I see your Facebook page. So it shows up on there. So that's good. You're showing up in some capacity. So if you have a Facebook page that is pulling up for SEO, just make sure that you are consistently adding content to your Facebook page. I have all of my Instagram set to automatically copy over to my Facebook page because it takes no effort. It doesn't ding me in any negative way, and it just possibly more ways that people can see me. So Denver is going to be hyper oversaturated on SEO, just like Seattle is. You can better optimize your blog posts, and properly listing your location in your Instagram will help you, because through here, before I got to your Facebook page, I scrolled past 2 Instagram accounts for Denver family photographers before I got to your Facebook page. So what's crazy about this is like so many of these things are not blogs or websites. They're other forms of social media that people have put on their website. So that's really helpful. Okay, and then if we go over to Pinterest, I don't see you there, but again, it's probably just due to blogging and pinning, and those things just take time. So one global tip I want to give people about pinning is, I see this a lot, especially as I've been doing these marketing reviews. Don't overly pin your main Instagram URL like over and over and over again. So I see a lot of pins and I click over to them and they just go to the main Instagram. You can go into the individual post and grab the link of the post, and that's the thing you want to pin. Because if you have too many pins going to the same URL, then Pinterest could see you as a spammer. They made changes a couple years ago because people were overly spamming on Pinterest, and that was a big change, is that they don't want to see a ton of posts from the same URL, and your your Instagram name is a static URL. So you want to go in and get the actual pin link that is that post, and then use that just so you're not spamming. So that's just one global tip that I wanted to give everyone. Okay, I have been loving the feedback that you guys have been giving for these, and so many of you are already implementing the changes, which makes me so happy. I know that going into 2024, marketing is more confusing than ever. I just wrote a post today. It's kind of fun. It's like a do this, not that for marketing for 2024. And, I built my entire Instagram on organic posts with there was nothing else that I did except post images. And over the time frame that I was doing that, it was enough to build the account to a substantial number of followers that allowed me to book out a business over the last 6 years. But so much of that is changing now. The algorithm is really tough, and there are changes that you need to make in terms of your marketing, and you need to not have Instagram be your only bucket. So if you want me to do this work for you and you want to work on your marketing with another group of photographers who are also in growth mode, then my advice would be to join the marketing mastermind that we are doing starting January 23rd. So if you're hearing this soon, you can sneak in a final write-off for 2023 because it is a business write-off. So if you're looking for something else to do right at the end of the year, then sneak on in. There's 2 payment options. One's a pay in full and one's a pay over 2 months. So I would love to have you in there. I am so excited about doing this work for people. When I dropped my daughter off at middle school, I had to drop her off late. And she said, "What are you doing after this?" And I said, "Oh, well, I'm going to take Rooney, our dog, for a walk, and then I'm going to go do some editing, and then I'm going to have coffee with a friend." And she said, "When I grow up, I want a life like yours where you have control over your schedule." And so sometimes we can forget how powerful this work can be, where we are working creative artists, especially as women. It's extremely powerful. But if you don't have visibility and you don't have bookings, then the work cannot continue, especially if you are like me and your family relies on your income. So my whole goal is to help you get that visibility that then will translate into consistent bookings so that you can have a long, fruitful career creating beautiful art. So if marketing is a goal for you in 2024, I would love to see you in the mastermind. If you have any questions, my DMs on Instagram are always open. I love chatting with people. And I hope you guys have a wonderful last few days of this year.